been a year since my last video, but I am back, and today we're going to be doing a ColorIt coloring book review. About a year ago, ColorIt reached out to me to review their coloring books, colored pencils, and gel pens. And I did that on my Twitch channel. We went through a lot of those supplies and I started using them. And at the 1 month mark, I started to film content and went to go edit those reviews. But then my life kind of blew up. I ended up leaving a really toxic marriage, getting a divorce, moving my converted bus all the way across country with help from my dad, and settling in a completely different state. And even though I've kept up with Twitch streaming 3 days a week for the last year, I haven't really updated my YouTube channel, so I thought, why not jump right back into it? Now, I didn't want to waste a lot of the footage that I already filmed, but since I've been using the materials for over a year now, I am updating my opinions based off of having these supplies for over a year. That means I have a lot of information I want to throw at you today, so instead of doing all 3 things in one video, I'm going to break it into 3 videos that are going to come out over the next couple of weeks. So this first video dives into the ColorIt coloring books. Let's jump into it right now. They sent me 2 coloring books to try out. They sent me their mandala coloring book as well as their colorful flower volume 2 coloring book. When they first said they wanted to send me some coloring books, I was a little skeptical, partly because, as you guys know, if you've been on this channel a while, I'm an artist. I make my own art. And a lot of my resistance there was like, I'd rather be coloring my own art than coloring a coloring book. And I never really dived into why people use adult coloring books. I'm going to be 100% honest. I was blown away at how much I love coloring. I have ADHD. It's something I haven't really talked a lot on this YouTube channel, but I do talk a lot about it on my Twitch. And using these books to kind of like calm myself down, it's been amazing. Especially in particular, the mandala book has been really relaxing. It's kind of like a very meditative process, filling in the different colors, and I've really enjoyed it. And I have a lot of really good things to say specifically about the ColorIt coloring books. So the first thing that I was really impressed with is that a spiral bound, which could be a pro and a con. Normally I would say it's a con because I'm left-handed and I hate that the spirals are always on the left-hand side, but this one is across the top, so that's kind of a bonus for me. Then you can go from either side if you're left-handed or you're right-handed. Either way, it's going to work for you. The second thing I really appreciated was that the covers themselves were incredibly thick, which gave you a really nice board to draw on. So you can easily draw if you don't feel comfortable sitting at a desk, and especially me in particular with my ADHD, a lot of times when I'm doing things, I'm curled up on a chair or on a couch, and having that extra support system really makes the process a little bit more comfortable for me, and I really appreciated that. Third really cool thing about the coloring books is the paper weight. Now, even though I haven't purchased a lot of coloring books in the past, I have picked up coloring books and flipped through them in the store. And a lot of times I'm unimpressed with the quality of the paper. I am very impressed with the quality of the paper of the ColorIt books. I think it's a really nice heavyweight. It's got this like smooth, not quite glossy feel to it, but there definitely is some sort of protective film over the top of the paper. I'm not sure specifically what the chemical composition is. Now could be a pro or a con depending on what you want to use your coloring book for. Here's why I say that. The paperweight is heavy enough that it could accept a variety of different mediums. Both the pencils and the gel pens that we're going to dive into were both absolutely phenomenal on the coloring book. You could also use watercolor or an acrylic medium as well, because the paperweight is definitely there for that process. However, I did test out a little bit of watercolors, and I noticed that the watercolor pigment sits on top of the paper rather than seeping into it, which would mean that there's some sort of like coating or gloss on this paper that makes it not as absorbent, which is a bonus when working with the gel pens because the gel pens come out really beautifully. They've got this nice fluid matte color that is beautiful, and you'll see more of that later when we talk about the gel pens. But for the watercolors in particular, they worked, but it has a different result than, say, if you were painting on watercolor paper. But it is possible, and that's still pretty cool. So it's kind of like a pro and a con, just something to keep in mind. As for the particular designs, I was really impressed by the mandala designs. I think the mandala one is my favorite. I was really impressed with the variety. They had a really good variety. Now, the other thing I really liked were the perforated top pages. So not only is the spiral bound at the top, but also they're all perforated. So you can very easily fold them over, peel them out, give them away, hang them up, frame them, whatever you want to do. I just thought it was really cool. Another thing I thought was really cool, there is a little page in the very front that you fill out who the book belongs to. Just a nice little touch in the very beginning of the book in case you happen to misplace it, but it's also a really good starter page. So was an additional page. I'm not going to show you the QR code because if you buy the book, you do get to join in on the ColorIt Book Club, which offers you the opportunity to join in with exclusive designs that are online, discounts on other books and mediums, as well as a community of colorists for inspiration. They also give you this nice little chart here that breaks down the different color wheels, which is kind of a nice little touch, especially if you're new to matching different colors. As for the Colorful Flowers book, again, same great quality paper. The only con that I came across with the, this is the Volume 2 Flowers book, is that a couple of the designs are missing some lines, and I don't know if it was intentional or not. Maybe it was intentional. There was one design in particular, this design right here. There's some stems that are floating, so that was the only mistake that I kind of, there's a couple more up here that are kind of floating. Part of me thinks it's intentional, but I don't know. I just thought it was kind of a strange design. But other than that, I really liked a lot of the flower designs for just being super detailed. And again, with the mandala ones as well, some of these are just so incredibly full of line work that I feel like easily there's hundreds of hours in some of these pages. In both of the books, I genuinely loved that there was a variety of line weight. Something that I see in a lot of other adult coloring books that kind of irritates me is when everything is on the same line weight. So in this particular illustration is a good example of where there's a really nice line weight variety. So you have the really, really thin lines on the house, whereas the edges of the house are thicker. Thin lines, thin line weight on the many, many, many flowers, with thicker line weight on the trees. And I saw this a lot with the mandala as well, where there was a variety of line weight, which is just really nice. It helps to add depth to the overall illustration. You can see it here around the very edge of this hedge. They did a thicker pen line weight, and it's really beautiful, especially when colored in. It just adds in this extra tone and layer and depth that you don't always get with a lot of adult coloring books. So I was really impressed by the actual illustrations. I think that the illustrators did an excellent job, in particular on the flower book, but also on the mandala book as well. The last thing I want to mention is that because it's got the heavy paperweight, it actually has a lot of versatility as far as reusability. Once they're colored, not only could you frame them yourself or hang them up on your fridge if you feel so inclined, but some of them would make really great gifts, not just the illustration itself, but I found that I was able to rip some of the mandalas out, add a little bit of text to the front, fold them in half, and they make perfect cards. So I thought that was really cool because you get that nice custom touch without being a little too over the top, and I felt like the line weight was there, that it made it feel like a really durable card. I got the idea that maybe you could even do a 3/4 fold and then use it for a bookmark. So whether you use it just as is, if you cut it into a couple of different strips and use them as bookmarks, the opportunity is also there to cut them up and then get them laminated and then use them as plastic bookmarks that maybe you hand out to your friends or relatives. If you've never seen a DIY bookmark before, you could also punch a little hole in it and put a ribbon in the top. It's a whole thing. So I thought that that was cool. The potential was there just because the paperweight is so nice. The last thing I want to reiterate is I do feel like these are definitely worth the price. At the 1 year mark, I've put in a couple hundred hours into these coloring books and I still haven't even gone halfway through. So I'm going to update this by saying I think there's probably thousands of hours worth of coloring to be had with these coloring books. Obviously that depends on how fast of an artist you are, but with my meticulous color filling, it takes a long time to fill up a page. At the time of this recording, ColorIt has over 30 different unique coloring books. A lot of these have come out in the last year, so this is a lot of updated information. Not only do they still have the mandala, a couple of renditions of the mandala books, but they also still have the flower book as well. They have jungle books, fairy books, dreamland, dragons, goddesses, which is definitely going to be my next purchase, majestic horses, fashion, color, relaxation. So definitely be sure to check out which you think is going to be the best coloring book for you. There are quite a lot of different options. Let me know if there's any other supplies you would like me to review in the future. I have a lot of supplies actually that I've tried in the last year thanks to some of my Twitch and Ko-fi supporters. So I'm going to have a lot more reviews in the future. I'm also going to be doing more laser cut tutorials, and I'm going to be diving into a lot of videos that are about social media marketing and marketing in general for artists. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to me while I'm streaming on Twitch or join my Discord community server. It's linked in the description box, which is no longer below now, is it? I think it's on the side now. I don't even know. What? YouTube keeps changing things. I haven't made videos in forever. It's going to be linked in the description, wherever that is. Or I'll try to put it in the comments. Or it'll be on my community tab. Oh, and while I'm thinking of it, please remember to go over to the community tab and vote for which video you want to see next. While all of those videos will eventually be posted, I'll be going in order of what gets the most votes. So go on over there, give your opinion, because it really does matter to the future of the channel. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, remember to create, love, and travel on. See you guys later. Bye!